watching Day or Night Exotics TV. I'm Delta Knight, and this is Willow, my Pamphobeteus fortis, the giant Colombian Brown, and this is the first and only Pamphobeteus I have ever owned in my collection. I'm not a huge Pamphobeteus fan. I do like, obviously some of the really nice looking ones, the Ecuadors and the ones that get a lot of coloration on, especially the males. But this one was actually in the pet store a few years ago. I went in there, and clearly she was an adult when I got her. And as we look at footage of her most recent molt, and she was around 5.5 to 6 inches long when I got her, and I knew she was an older T. She wasn't a very active T even in the store. I just kind of, for the price, I really wanted to experience having a female P fortis, and I actually like the fortis. The fortis is actually my favorite, and of all the genus, I love the fortis. I always called it the poor man's T Sturmy, or a blondie. It's just a big bulky brown tarantula, and this one's hairs really irritates the crap out of me. Even if I open up the enclosure, I don't even have to touch anything. I can just feel those hairs in there, and they are extremely long hairs, and I'm gonna have some close-up shots of those hairs later on in this video. But unfortunately, as you've seen in the title, this tarantula was never the same after this molt. Literally after this molt, she just kind of stayed in the same spot. She did eat regularly. She just never was the same. I would say it's very close to the same as a mature male having a post-ultimate molt, especially in some of the ones that are could live a little bit longer, like the Ramistolas and Brachypelmas. They can live after a post-ultimate molt for quite a while. She just displayed very odd behavior, and it was 4 months of this behavior before she started having her biggest issues, which we'll get to in a minute. But she literally molted, and I wouldn't say never left the spot that she molted in, but that same spot you see her in sitting here in the enclosure is a spot she would always come back to. No matter what, she would always come back to that one spot, and that's eventually the spot where she passed away in. Now, I was never really too concerned about it because I already knew she was old. Sometimes it's very hard to tell how old a tarantula is, especially if they're already an adult. So I wouldn't have 10 years with her. I didn't think I would have 5. She kind of passed away around the time I thought she would. I knew whatever molt she had next would be probably one of her last ones. She just seemed very old to me when I got her, and that didn't bother me. I like to experience any different species of tarantula. To experience it just for a little while, that's fine. I think I had her a few years, so it wasn't like a quick turnaround. I enjoyed her. Learned a lot from her. Learned a lot about the Pamphobeteus genus through her. But unfortunately, like I said, she would come to this spot, and eventually I came down, and she was no longer with us. Approximately 4 months after that last molt, I found her in the death curl, and she had survived the move from my old house into the new house. And like I said, she was eating well. A lot of animals have a little trouble transitioning, and I actually thought, she had me very concerned that she would die very soon after that, because she just looked like she couldn't handle a lot of stress, especially with the behavior she was having. And it wasn't like when I tapped her butt or something, she didn't move. She still was really fast. She just was very lethargic, and without something to prompt her really to move around, she would just stay in that one spot that she molted in, and it was like home base for her. The only time she would really move is if I needed her to move, or I threw some crickets in there, or a worm, and she would tear that down. But as soon as she was done eating, she would slowly walk back over that spot, and she would chill out, and there was really nothing I could do. It's not like you can keep a tarantula in ICU for months. You gotta let them do their thing. Cage and everything was great, so I always try to keep my cages spot on, and I really don't miss a beat with that. If I, unless, I'm not in the house for a week or two or something, but if I'm down there, obviously the enclosure is going to be up to snuff, and that wasn't an issue at all. She actually looked like a male to me almost towards the end. She doesn't have any bulbous pedipalps. She's not hooked out or anything. The pet store I got her in, they always tend to get a little bit more of older tarantulas in there, because I actually know the guy who breeds the tarantulas in there, and once his tarantulas get a little bit up in age, he'll go ahead and sell them. And I bought a couple of tarantulas that were up in age from him, and so I already knew that this girl was older because I had firsthand knowledge that this tarantula was indeed very old. I'm not saying very old as in 30, 40 years, but she had been around a while. The guy who actually had him in the store, who was breeding this lady, he had her for quite a while. So I'm really gonna miss this tarantula. You get attached to him, obviously. I didn't raise this one, but she's really gonna be missed.